My summer has been nothing but country music. Going to see Luke Combs in Brisbane this weekend. Chris Stapleton, well, I can't wait. He is my new music god. Wow, incredible, mind blown about how amazing he is. And then for my kids, which means me too, we've seen Wicked a lot. In fact, I've seen Wicked 3 times. We've already got it on the DAV thing so we can watch it at home. We paid that sort of stupid price to get it. My kids love this movie, right? They dance, they sing, it is such a joy to see your kids or little ones running around after this movie. And yeah, it's got too much wokeness, but who cares? They love it, which means I love it. Shout out to the girls if they're watching right now on their way to somewhere special for the next little while. But we've laughed at places like the UK who decide to put ratings that make no sense on movies. Like normally you sort of have your PG or your G or your M or your MA or your R, and it's normally violence, nudity, and that's pretty much it, or swearing. No. In the UK, this is the warning that UK censors put on Wicked. Discrimination. A green-skinned woman is mocked, bullied and humiliated because of her skin colour. A disabled woman in a wheelchair is treated in a condescending manner by able-bodied people. Talking animals are persecuted in a fantastical society. It's wicked. We've also joked, as the Sooks have started to get involved with film classics like Gone with the Wind, which now come with trigger warnings and people saying that it's undeniably racist. Gone with the Wind, of course, now has a trigger warning in the United States because of hurtful or harmful aspects of the 19th century, including slavery, as if anyone watching the film now doesn't know that's bad. And then there are the people who want to go and censor the books, to say not as the author wrote, but as the author should write now. The James Bond novels turned into those incredible films. Fingers crossed we get a new James Bond announced this year and a film in a couple of years' time. I don't care where they go as long as it's not woke. Remember the James Bond novels were edited to remove racist content? Again, just because it exists in the book does not mean that you reading it in 2025 go, you know what, right on, let's go back to those days. They are the way they are, and we're all grown up enough to understand what the flaws of some of these things are. Now, we've laughed when it's the UK. We've rolled our eyes when it's the United States. But there's a plan to do it here. And I'm not talking about some sort of pearl clutcher. I'm talking about the official body that does the classification, the censorship in Australia that declares what is G or MA or R or PG. They want the ability to get into a time machine and to review and change the classifications of everything that's ever been released or is available now in Australia, from the very first book that came here to the one that's coming out tomorrow. The old's great one on this today. The federal government agency wants to reclassify publications every 10 years. And it's told a review of Australian classification. It's told a review. Why am I reading so poorly tonight? I apologise. They are citing the British census reclassification. So the Brits, who have a trigger warning about Wicked and that the Green Lady isn't treated as well as the pink dress lady. My goodness. These are the people who went after Mary Poppins. The Australian census says that it needs the power to proactively reclassify anarchic books and out-of-step movies, books and TV shows that no longer align with current guidelines or community standards. Seriously? A bunch of people want to go back and have a look at the films of the past and try to put the 2024 lefty label on the things that may well have been classics or won awards or launched careers or been part of the fabric of our culture. You know how this is going to go, but please let me read directly from the bureaucrats who are trying to win over the federal government to have the opportunity to review everything every 10 years, which would mean when they got the power to do it tomorrow, it'd be everything that has ever been, and then they would review those decisions every 10 years. Provision must be made for a simple mechanism to allow for the reclassification of content with ever-evolving community standards and a dynamic media environment affecting not only how people consume content, but also its impact on them. There is a need for a flexible and rational approach to reviewing archaic and out-of-step classifications and consumer advice for previously classified media. Really? Really? Oh, we've got to go back to the odd angry shot. Opening couple of lines, not fantastic. Got to go back to those war films where they said the terrible, terrible, terrible things. We've got to put a classification on Wicked because the girl in the wheelchair is spoken to in a condescending manner, but anyone who actually understands the story understands that that's part of an evolution where the people who speak to her in a condescending manner need to learn not to speak to her in a condescending manner. The movie has a message inside it that would solve the label that they would put on the wrapping. But no! This government said you couldn't be trusted to know what the truth was on the internet, and now a bunch of people who you do not know, do not see, and are definitely not elected, they want the capacity to turn around and tell you what you can watch, read, because of its impacts on people. Thankfully, a little bit of pushback. Now, this is a story that's around today, but this could all be backdoored a couple of days before an election when nobody's really looking, when we're paying on to everything else, when we're paying attention to the overall view and they're moving the grains of sand on the beach. Today, on Sunrise, representatives of both the government and the opposition said, not a great idea.
I myself are not in that camp of rewriting things that have been pivotal to my childhood and to yours. I think these are fantastic works of art, and I love reading some of these books to my kids, and I'll continue to do so.
I'm going to show my bipartisan view. I think Michelle Rowland's a pretty good minister, and I don't think that she's going to put up with this garbage.
But wait. And will anyone ask anyone in the next little while? The Communications Minister, the Culture Secretary, the Arts Minister? We'll all find out together.